Alright y'all, before we get into the video, I just want to talk to y'all because of everything that's been happening. Obviously Tyler hasn't been around the last couple months really.
And I guess I was wrong for keeping silent to y'all.
So we're not gonna mention the one person that this is about. So the reason anyone who's even talking about this is because Mopi tweeted L-Hype. So you mean to tell me you have a 45-minute video, you have nothing to say?
Hey guys, before we get to the content, I just wanted to let you guys know that I'm giving away a PlayStation 5 digital edition to a subscriber that turns on our notifications on this channel. And you have a pretty good chance of doing so because this channel has nearly 30,000 subscribers. And if you want additional entries, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Now that we got all that out of the way, cue the intro. So we haven't made a video on the situation on 2Hype in quite some time. And the main reason for that is there hasn't really been any news to have come out, and this channel doesn't necessarily need to chase clout because we have two other very successful channels. So I'm not going to continue milking a topic on a daily basis just in an attempt to gain this channel relevance. I'm only going to bring you good stories whenever we have a good update on the story. But for those of you guys that don't know what's going on, let me catch you up because it is a fairly confusing story. And about a 1-minute summary, if you guys want a full story on what actually happened, I'll leave a link to my original video in the description down below or in the end screen, or it's the video I made like 2 videos ago. As a matter of fact, I realized it's a fantastic video because based off of what TD says in this video that we're going to dive into, what I originally said in my video is fairly accurate. So to catch you up with everything that went on, 2Hype won a very coveted award called a Streamy Award for the Best Creator Squad. And if you just listen to the way they react, they seem genuinely excited about this achievement and milestone.
Squad goes to 2Hype!
Let's go! Hey, 2Hype baby! Bro, 2Hype Army, spam the vote!
Now, during the time that they won this award about 2 weeks ago, one of the supposed members, now ex-members, Mopi, tweeted out, L-Hype, Cash, and Mitchell are cool though. He then went on to continue to say that, hey, I'm gonna give you guys an update on everything that's going on, but I didn't get kicked out, I left. This was met with 2 responses on the 2Hype side, one from Jesser, one from Chris London. The one from Jesser pretty much painted Mopi to be this volatile, deeply mentally disturbed individual who is fighting with some quote-unquote demons and is acting out as a result of it.
Alright y'all, before we get into the video, I just want to talk to y'all because of everything that's been happening. Obviously Tyler hasn't been around the last couple months really, like uploading or on social media. He's been going through a lot mentally, been fighting some serious demons. I'm not gonna go too in-depth on that, it's his personal thing, but Tyler, I'm worried about you, dude. Like I said, I would take this whole thing offline. I reached out to your mom, expressing my worries. I talked to your brother for an hour, bro. He's really worried about you. Like you've been hiding things from him. Tyler, I tried calling you. Please just call me back. You don't respond to me or the guys. Like, we want to help you. I'm not gonna go in depth. It's very personal, all of this stuff. Like Tyler, I literally saw you the other day after this happened. I told you I loved you, bro. You hugged me and then you don't respond to me. I haven't been able to sleep at night. Like all I've tried to do is help this man. Obviously, I'm gonna try to keep everything offline. I'm gonna try to talk to your family more because I'm worried about you, bro. I've known you forever. All the people like hating on me, saying I snaked my best friend, like, you know nothing, bro. Y'all are fueling someone who's not okay. Imagine just like shitting on me when you know nothing about me and Tyler's relationship or what he's going through or what I'm going through. I just don't get it, man. Like, y'all have seen what I've done for my friends over the years. I got to the top and I brought so many people up with me, bro. That's what I'm about, dude.
Which, although in my opinion, I'm never for painting a member of a group as mentally disturbed just for the sake of saving my face, but at least that kind of addresses what's going on. Chris London decided to take a different approach. You see, instead of addressing the fact that Mopi left the group, Chris London made a 45-minute video addressing previous beefs that 2Hype had with TDPresents and Los Pollos TV.
I'm not going to mention Mopi in that situation, because that is being handled, and I hope will be resolved offline. He did leave, but we never wanted him to leave. We wanted him in, even in the 100 Thieves.
And while Los did a reaction, which was about 2 hours and 45 minutes long, to what Chris London said, TDPresents decided to take some time and address each and everything that he is being accused of in a separate video. And although that video took a couple of weeks to create, we finally received that video today. Chris London's video was honestly a horrible video where he contradicted himself multiple times. It didn't seem very rehearsed at all, and as a result of all of it, he appeared to have removed the video as well. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a deep dive into what TDPresents said about 2Hype, whether it's plausible or logical or not, because I'm going to try to remain as impartial to both sides as I possibly can be, because I have been doing that historically, because both TDPresents and 2Hype have been really good to me throughout my entire career. So as a result of that, there is no reason that I would blindly take one team's side and one person's side and the other person's not. I've collabed with 70% of the people that I'm making this video on.
They're trying to play dirty. They've sent out cease and desist to try and keep people quiet. I'm not worried about that stuff. I have a very strong legal team that's been working with me on this. They've been kind of overseeing everything. That is what they asked of me to, keep this clean. I'm not gonna go, take a deep dive into the group chat and, show like gossip and try and take text and manipulate them and try and, twist the story. I'm not gonna do any of that. But what I will be doing is clearing my name. And I'm also gonna finally tell my side of what happened. Zackttg put out the following tweets. This is something that the group has kind of always put out as a narrative. It's always painted me and Los as like these lazy people that weren't helping the group in any way. I'm gonna put out an entire timeline later in the video. That way everything adds up for you guys. But my first response to Zackttg's tweets, I moved back to California to be close to you guys. And so I could be in the group. And so we could do videos together. These people told me that the plan was they were gonna get like this huge house in Calabasas and that I would have a spot back in the house.
So right off the bat, TD is telling us that 2Hype is manipulating their audience against their old members, and there's a motivation behind it, which he's going to get to in a second. But he provides empirical evidence that he was never lazy, he did what was asked of him, and Los wasn't lazy either, he was just focused on his streaming career. Although TD doesn't say that, I covered that in a different video. Also, once again, like I said in my previous video, Zackttg is blatantly lying and just clearly doesn't understand the economics of this entire situation. He's just blindly taking 2Hype's side, so take whatever Zackttg says with a grain of salt in the future.
Now, all the texts you guys are seeing on screen right now, these are texts that are just from like the final 5 weeks I was in the group. It's not even counting, the entire months before that. And also the texts you guys are seeing, some of them I'm not even recording my own video. I'm just showing up to be in their videos. I know Chris brought it up in his video. There was a time where I was like, yo, I apologize. I've been MIA for like 2 months. That was an exaggeration. I was gone for like 15 days. So I went back home. I was helping my mom with some stuff. I went on a vacation for the first time in my life. Growing up, I couldn't afford to go on vacation. And then all the other times I went on trips, it was always like YouTube or business related. I shouldn't even have to be defending myself in this situation because there's so many other times where, group members, they had stuff going on or they were going on trips and they were gone for like a week or two. Like I said, I know they're probably gonna take that, try and manipulate it. So I just wanna be, straight up about that. And once again, I immediately followed up that message by saying, hey, going forward, whenever you guys need me, I'm gonna be there. I'm good to go.
This next part involves TD diving into LSK's 45-minute video, including the rumors of him jumping into bed with his girlfriend in boxers.
This next part, we're gonna talk about Chris's now deleted video.
The narrative that TD was kicked because he was taking care of his mom, and like a lot of outside sources are trying to spread that narrative, whether you heard it from people or not. And TD, you're literally telling people that that's not true. That's not the case, and I'm here to clear that up.
I could have spent close to 2 hours just talking about all the lies and the amount of times LSK contradicts himself in his own video, but I'm not here to do that, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna say, that's a complete lie. I have never gone anywhere. I've never said this to anybody that I got kicked out of the group for taking care of my mom. Since there was a lot of questions on why I wasn't in the group, there was, fans that came up with this narrative that's why I got kicked out. Chris, in your own video, you put a screenshot where I tell you to not let fans stir up the drama. There's always false narratives when it came to this situation. That's just how the internet works. There's plenty about me, there's plenty about them, but for him to say that I came out and said that's a straight lie. That's just completely untrue.
Don't understand is like you're claiming that you heard that I talk shit behind your back.
Chris, did you forget that you text me apologizing for talking behind my back? I'm gonna read part of this long text that Chris sent me. So he said, there are things said about one another and negative things spread that weren't true, but I know and will admit I have said stuff behind your back in spite of built up emotions that I don't feel to discuss, is that's the old me and I've moved forward from those feelings a long time ago, but I apologize.
The one theme I sense in this video, and I'm not going to tell 2Hype how to run their business. They're doing a great job running their business, no matter how toxic that culture is over there. They bring in tons of views. They make a lot of money. I'm not going to tell them how to run their business, but it appears as though LSK is the one that contributes most of the toxicity. I don't see any of it coming from Cash. I think Jesse is kind of like on the side on this one, but most of the drama comes from Chris, and he has a history of absolutely thriving off of the drama. If you look at these messages, he literally says, yeah, I talked mess behind your back, but I apologize, and I'm not going to discuss why I talked mess because that is the old me, and we have moved forward from the old me. Could you just imagine if someone came up and said that to you? Yeah, I talked behind your back, but I don't want to discuss the fact that I talked behind your back because that's the old me, and the new me doesn't do that anymore. So I might as well be able to come over to your house with a bat and shatter everything in your house, and then take your car and ram it into a wall, and while I'm at it, take a dump on your carpet and say, yo, I don't want to discuss that. That's the old me, and the new me would not destroy your house and take a dump on your carpet anymore. So let's just move past it. But this next part is absolutely insane because TD got a hold of a bunch of Zach's old iMessages with empirical evidence that Zach and Chris would talk behind TD's back.
Let me just say this. These people have snaked a lot of others over the years. And somebody came to me, another person that they snaked. This was somebody that Zach was extremely close with, and, they had access to his iMessage. Since you snaked this person, once they saw I got kicked out of the group and Los got kicked out of the group, they sent me dozens of screenshots of you and Zach constantly talking behind our back. I could be here all day just reading all these messages that got sent to me, but here's just a few of them. And like I said, these are between Chris and Zach. Zach texts Chris saying, dude, shit's crazy, and I know he be nasty hoes too. Chris responds with, yeah, taking whatever he can, laugh my ass off. Zach then followed it up with, exactly, sheesh. Here's another one. Zach texts Chris saying, did you get a long ass text from Lewis? Chris says, laugh my ass off. Yep, gotta love it. Best apology yet, haha. Keep this in mind that Chris, several times has said that, Los never owns up, never sends apologies, never admits for his wrongdoings, never is, holds himself accountable for his actions. Los sends them an apology, and this is what they're saying behind his back. And keep in mind, me and Los were still in 2Hype when all this was going on. Zach says, laugh my ass off, bro. I don't even know what to say to him at this point. I think he's only saying this because he saw the stuff we've been putting on Twitter. Well, that's interesting because Chris also complained about us putting out subliminal messages. You kind of are admitting right there that that's what you did to Los, and that's why he sent you an apology. Chris says, I haven't responded yet, but yeah, most likely laugh my ass off. And Zach says, I haven't either. I've already said all I could say 20 times at this point, LOL. And Chris said, yep, I think I'm gonna just say that, haha. Some of these are pretty personal, and I think you guys get the point. So I'm not gonna go over any more of them, at least in this video right here, but if I need to in the future, I do have more of them.
So I know this wasn't anything official, and TD's doing this with his lawyer's approval, and I don't want to put words into TD's mouth, but this is kind of an indirect threat to both Zach and Chris, saying pretty much F off because I have a lot of these messages and I can make you guys look really bad if you piss me off.
Everybody that is no longer a part of 2Hype, they left.
So TD then addresses the fact that he got kicked out and Los got kicked out. They didn't leave, and he provides that leaked audio that we put in our last video as proof of it. So I'm going to leave a link to my previous video if you guys want to check it out, because I don't want to stretch out this video too long for you guys.
But that's just completely not true. Like, we got kicked from the group, and I'm gonna play audio for you guys that end up getting leaked. And out of the blue, they just call me and they're like, hey, TD, you know, we're starting a group channel. We want to become like the next phase. We want to be like the sidemen. And yeah, we don't see you being in the group anymore. So can you lie and say like you're taking a step back from the group? I responded to him and I'm like, look, I won't create drama and I won't say anything bad about you guys, but I'm not going to lie and say that I'm taking a step back to work on myself, because that's not what's happening.
Now, in order to prove his point even further, he brings Mopi in to vouch for him. And here's the craziest part. Take a look at Mopi's demeanor and tell me if that looks like someone that is deeply mentally disturbed to you or not.
It's funny because Jidel also put out a tweet saying that Los's call was like, you know, more business and that mine wasn't. Like, this personal beef has always been brewing. You guys heard the call. There's nothing mentioned of like this personal stuff going on. They literally say like, yo, we can still be boys. Like, it seems like the narrative with these guys is constantly changing, whether they kicked me out for business or personal reasons. So I say we go ahead. Let's ask somebody that was on the other side when I got kicked out. You were on the other side of me, you know, getting kicked out. So in your opinion, was this like business or was this personal?
It was for sure business, but they tried to tie in like whatever little personal stuff they could to try to make it seem less about the business. But it was going from 9 people to 6 and cutting out shares for everyone in the company.
Do you remember like being told of any of these personal things that are being brought up now?
I remember being told about the situation with the landlord's daughter, but as far as I'm concerned, that was completely manipulated to make it seem way worse than it was. Yeah, that's where they're just trying to grasp at whatever they can to make it seem like it wasn't about the business.
Right.
Like, that's an issue when it comes time to kicking you out. Like, I fully defend you too, and the shit like Chris talking about, like, you and your boxers with Breeze, like, it shows how, like, childish and how many straws they're grasping at to try to find shit to paint you guys as the bad guys in the picture, but it's literally ridiculous.
I hardly scratched what TD says in his video, mainly because if I was to cover each and every part of his video, this video would be over an hour long, and I wouldn't want to take away from the substance of TD's video. But for the most part, let me explain to you what's going on here. Essentially, 2Hype was a business that started between friends. Let's get together, make videos, and split all of the revenue together. But you see, when there's 9 people in a group with each other, splitting the revenue between 9 people as opposed to splitting the revenue between 6 people is way less feasible and ideal. That's way less money for each and every person, and that's fine in the realm of a business. Since you got business involved with friends, well, in order to save face when you cut out your friends, you need to make it seem like you're doing so for personal reasons, and that's where 2Hype is coming from. But defaming the former members of 2Hype to get your point across and to save your own face obviously is going to rub the former members of 2Hype wrong, especially when the things you're saying about the former members are not true. The only lessons you could take from this is, 1, try your best not to do business with your friends because it's always going to end up ugly, and 2, you can't add people to your group that you're going to plan on kicking out later. That's not how it works. 2Hype essentially started as a group of, hey, we're all a bunch of cool kids at the lunch table. If you're cool enough, you could join us. But once they started making real money, you could see that it was less about being the cool kid at the lunch table and more about, hey, what's essential to making sure that we make as much money as humanly possible. At the end of the day, if you ask me, if I was 2Hype, I would try to start the entire group over again. with the core members that were absolutely necessary. There are some members in that crew that I think are not necessary to the group's success at all, and I'm not going to say names here at all. As a matter of fact, I think there's only like 4 members of that group that are absolutely necessary to be in that group, and that'll generate the maximum amount of revenue. If they want to bring in new people, you could simply just bring in new people and say, hey, we'll blow your channel up, but we want a percentage of the revenue you make off of AdSense and a percentage of your sponsorship revenue. Very similar to what FaZe does. And they were very close to achieving that, but they went about it in the wrong way. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about TD's response? Aside from that, I'm your boy, the Flight Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.